Hi everyone, it's Jen again. Hope that you're having a good week. Sorry that this video is a little bit late. Things have been kind of happening in my life that have been derailing me a little bit. But this week I still was able to sort of reach my development goals that I wanted to implement. Eve, it's just one of those things where I was working on it pretty late last night, so I didn't get around to making a video because I really wanted to get her skill trigger implemented, and I had to change a few things, tweak a few things with the timing of the animation and the way that the skill worked in order for it to kind of end up being balanced in the way that I wanted it to be. So I was pretty happy with the end result. It's still pretty OP, but she needs a lot of support to work well. Her main team being Asher and Jonas, which works along with the story lore. But the way her skill works is that she needs to absorb the player's mana. So Jonas is good party mate for that because he gives the player extra mana. Along with Activate skill works really well for her too because her skill trigger is on a lower percentile activation than some of the other skills, so being able to have a guarantee for that is nice. And then with Asher, because his skill basically converts any ones to the max dice roll, it ensures that she doesn't waste her skill either. So it works well with Activate skill. If the player has any party members that roll a 1, they'll be converted to their max dice value. So in the case of Eve, her max dice is a 10, so her 1s would be converted to 10s, and then like Asher's would be converted to 8s. And her skill basically doubles or triples or quadruples on a very low percentage the dice values of everybody in the party. So yeah, it's potentially very powerful, but it does consume mana, which is the only unit character that consumes the hero's mana other than when you use like an ultimate. So I think it's a good trade-off. And again, she takes a while to ramp up too. If you don't have Jonas in your party, then it'll take you a while to build up all that available mana. And you could just be sitting on it for a while and not using your morale skills, waiting for her skill to activate unless you use the Activate skill ability. So I think that it's a good trade-off, but she is pretty darn powerful. So that's kind of what I was aiming for, and I was happy with the way that the playtesting went. And I was happy with the way her animation worked because when she uses her skill, she causes the dice to reset their values with the bonus implemented. So the way she kind of like flies across the screen, covers up the dice, and then when her animation finishes, the new dice values are revealed, which is kind of cool. And I wasn't completely planning on that to happen from the very beginning, so it was one of those things that turned out to be like a happy accident. Other than that, her skill trigger animation was pretty... It took me a while, just because of the amount of details on her with her 2 sets of horns and her scales and her 2 sets of wings and her body wraps. Everything just seemed like it took longer than a lot of the other character designs, and so she might be kind of the, I don't know, borderlining what I would consider being like a little bit over-designed. Like maybe she has more details than I would prefer, going into thinking about doing character frame-by-frame animation, where some of her details start to get a bit cumbersome to track as I'm going from frame to frame, and I had to go back and do some corrections where like, oh, forgot her scales that were on her like side of her stomach here, and forgot the scales that were on her eyes here, and that sort of thing. That slow down my production. So normally I would avoid having too many, especially asymmetrical details, to have to keep track of like that. Also because of like sometimes I use character like sprite flips and stuff, and so like those asymmetrical aspects of the design always like kind of stick out too when you're running into the enemy version of her, and her kind of eye patch of scales is gonna like switch sides, and I'm just okay with that. This is a solo dev hobbyist project, so it's just gonna have to have some inconsistencies like that. Trying to think if there was anything else that I wanted to talk about. Oh yes, so one of the things that came up in discussion when I was talking with my friends this weekend, I was going on for a walk, was that my friend was kind of starting to do something new with their social media, and just how it can feel like sometimes with the way that the algorithms are, and you kind of like see or hear about like certain posts or certain projects or, you know, certain pieces of art going viral, and it's hard to like not compare yourself to those types of things and like wonder like what's wrong with me or what's wrong with my art, that, you know, I can only get this number of views or this many likes or retweets or whatever. So anyways, my friend said that she had been encouraged by watching the growth of my content over the last 4 years, that you know, I never had like one video or one project that really like got me a lot of followers, that I could say, oh yeah, I got like, you know, a ton of new engagement from like introducing this one project. Like, it's always been like consistently a slow trickle. And you know, I guess I would just encourage people, if you are also kind of experiencing that, to focus on the quality instead of the quantity of the people who engage with you. That that is like an advantage of having like very slow growth, is that the people who are I guess following you and engaging with your content are more likely to be there for your content, as opposed to like if you have like one really big hit, you do one thing that suddenly, I guess, gets all of your analytics up, though you would run the risk that those people are there for like a specific type of content based on like the one thing that you did that that really resonated with them, and then you might find yourself being kind of like pigeonholed to that like one type of content. Like, I know based on some of my videos that are more like tutorial style, where I talked about, you know, how to make transparent WebMs in Renpy, that got like a whole bunch of views, and that my channel would grow better if I made a bunch of tutorial content. But that's not the stuff that I'm interested in making, nor do I feel like I am like the type of person who would be the person who should be making that type of content. Like, I'm not an expert in programming or game design or any of those things, so I don't really feel like I want that to define my channel, even though I know that that's the type of content that would get me more views. But I wouldn't enjoy making the videos anymore, and I probably wouldn't be able to make a video like every week and stay consistent, and the type of people who would be following me would probably stop following me at some point when I run out of ideas for, I guess, tutorial style videos, because really I just made the few tutorial style videos that I made because I had a certain thing that I wanted to talk about. Like, I saw that there wasn't really much in the resources out there for how to make those WebMs in Renpy work with transparency. So I felt like, okay, I'm gonna put the solution that I found out there, because that's something that I'm finding very hard, you know, for people to find. And you know, it's really great being able to use these WebMs when you want. So that was something that I saw a need, or I guess something that was lacking, and I just wanted to put that information out there before it got lost. Like, I didn't want it to die with me. And so, but I never had a desire to make my channel into a how-to type channel. There are other how-to channels out there that are way better, from people who have more knowledge and expertise in those things than I do. So even though that could get me more subscribers, it wouldn't be the type of content that I want to make. So it's not all about the analytics to show like how successful you are. I want the people who are following my channel and who are following my projects to be interested in the types of stories and ideas that interest me. And maybe that means my content is very niche. Maybe that means I might be somewhat of an acquired taste. But I'd like to think that the people who are following my work and subscribe to my videos are people who understand, and maybe understand the type of content that I'm trying to create, and it resonates with them. And maybe that's a very small group of people, but that's okay, because again, I just want to find that quality of connection, and I hope that I can help other people to feel that same kind of quality of connection with me through my art and my stories and my videos. This is where I'm going to sound like maybe a little bit old, and maybe I'm looking at the past with rosy colored glasses, but I feel like when the internet was new and we were all still on dial-up, and places were really more of like a free-for-all of like forums of people just kind of talking, having discussions, and sharing art. There was something about those earlier days of the internet that finding genuine connections felt a little bit easier. There wasn't so much curated and constructed content that was designed from a more commercial standpoint of pursuing analytics. And I guess there's enough content out there, I feel like, that's teaching people how to pursue analytics and how to increase their numbers. And I just want to be a counter voice to say it's okay to just think about the quality instead of the quantity, to appreciate that one or two new subscribers as hopefully a human being and not a bot who will like engage, with the content that only you can make, that speaks your voice and your message, and you don't have to compromise that voice or message to accommodate, certain algorithms. And maybe that will mean that you're a little bit more niche like I am, and that your growth will be very slow. But to not forget, why you're putting your work out there, to hopefully make those human connections. And how will you make those connections if you're not being your authentic self? And yeah, it can be easy to get lost in comparisons and numbers. And I'm not even saying that everybody who's popular out there is not being authentic. I'm just saying that when you try to be popular instead of trying to just be, then that is going to take away from your authenticity. And at the end of the day, it doesn't matter to me how many numbers there are, as long as there are some genuine connections. That's my mission. That's my goal. And so I really appreciate the followers that I have that are hopefully interested in my stories and ideas, and I hope we continue to have an exchange, because that's what I'm doing this for. I just want to apologize again for being late with this video. I do try to remain consistent because I feel like, I don't know, I guess I just feel like that's a considerate thing to do. And again, because I'm just kind of creating from a place of joy, and I don't go back and really edit my videos, and I just kind of like blab on with whatever is going on in my mind. I don't really have any excuse like not to come out with a video every week.
Whoa, lucky.
Hope you have a good upcoming week, and don't forget to enjoy the process. Bye now.
That was fun.